I had no one to call. No one was waiting for me.
You're here now.
Why are you being kind to me?
Because someone should be.
We can be your someone.
Are you wearing Daddy's shirt?
Oh, yeah. Yes, sorry. It looks better on her.
Daddy never says that.
He pulled a stranger from the river and never expected to find her standing in his kitchen at dawn. The morning she stayed, the river didn't care about time. It rushed cold and dark through the edges of Millhaven, Oregon, the same way it always had. Indifferent, powerful, and completely unforgiving. Most locals knew to respect it. Tourists didn't always get the memo. Cole Harrington had lived beside that river his entire 38 years. He knew its moods the way he knew his own heartbeat, when it ran quiet, when it turned angry, and when it meant business. That Thursday evening in late October, it meant business. He was jogging the trail behind his property when he heard it. Not a scream, something worse. A single strangled gasp, then silence. Cole didn't think. He just ran. She was 40 feet out, barely keeping her chin above water, her arms slapping uselessly against the current. A hiking pack was dragging her down. He hit the water without pulling off his boots. The cold was a punch straight to the lungs. He reached her in 8 strokes, grabbed the strap of her pack, and hauled her toward the bank. She fought him, panicked, half delirious, and nearly took him under with her. But Cole was a big man, solid and calm under pressure. He'd pulled calves from mud and talked his daughter through nightmares and buried his wife 3 years ago without breaking in public. A river wasn't going to finish him tonight. He dragged her onto the bank. She coughed up half the river, rolled onto her side, and shook uncontrollably. "You're okay," he said, crouching beside her. "You're out. Breathe." She looked up at him with wide, terrified blue eyes. Blonde hair plastered flat against her face, lips turning slightly purple from the cold. "My pack," she wheezed. "Lost it. Doesn't matter." Everything was in. "It doesn't matter," he said again, firmer. "You're alive. That's all that matters right now." He pulled his flannel off and wrapped it around her shoulders. She grabbed it with both hands and pressed it to her chest like it was the most important thing she'd ever held. He got her to his truck, called 911, sat beside her in the dark while the dispatcher talked them through it. By the time the ambulance arrived, she'd told him 2 things. Her name was Lily Carson, and she was passing through town alone. Cole didn't expect to see her again. He went home, checked on his 8-year-old daughter Maisie, heated up the leftover soup on the stove, and told himself the whole thing was over. He'd done his part. She'd be fine. Life would go on. Millhaven was the kind of town where life always went on. Except 2 mornings later, there was a knock at his front door at 7 a.m. He opened it, still holding a spatula. She was standing on his porch in clothes that didn't quite fit her, borrowed clearly, with her hair pulled back and shadows under her eyes. She looked smaller than he remembered, quieter. "I'm sorry to just show up," she said. "The hospital gave me your address. I wanted to thank you in person." She paused. I don't have anywhere to go right now. I know that sounds insane. I'm not asking for anything. I didn't know where else." Cole looked at her for a long moment. Then he stepped back from the door and said, "There's coffee." Lily Carson was not a complicated woman. She just had a complicated situation. She'd left Chicago 4 months ago after her engagement fell apart. Not dramatically, just quietly, like a fire burning down to ash. Her fiancé had been kind about it. That almost made it worse. She'd packed a bag, bought a used car, and started driving west with no real destination in mind. The hiking trip was supposed to be a reset, a solo adventure to remind herself she was capable. The river had a different opinion. She told Cole most of this over eggs and toast at his kitchen table while his daughter Maisie stared at her with the unblinking intensity only an 8-year-old can achieve. "You almost drowned?" Maisie asked. "Maisie," Cole started. "Yes," Lily said. "Your dad saved me." Maisie turned to look at her father with an expression that managed to be both deeply impressed and completely unsurprised. "He does that," she said simply, and went back to her cereal. Cole caught Lily's eye across the table. Something passed between them. Not romantic, not yet, just recognition. The quiet acknowledgement that 2 people had stumbled into the same moment and were both still figuring out what it meant. She stayed 3 days. It was supposed to be 1. Then Maisie asked her to stay for dinner. Then the car wouldn't start, a dead battery, nothing serious, and by the time the tow truck came and went, it was too late to drive anywhere. Cole offered the guest room without making it a thing. Lily accepted without making it a thing. And somehow, in the not making it a thing, something real began to grow. She was good with Maisie in a way that felt effortless, not performing, not trying too hard, just present. She helped the little girl with a school project about the solar system, cutting out construction paper planets at the kitchen table while Cole cleaned up dinner. She read to her at night when Cole got stuck on a work call. She taught her a card game she'd learned from her grandmother. Maisie, who had grown up in a house with only her father and his patient, quiet grief, soaked it up like dry earth after rain. Cole noticed. He noticed everything, even when he pretended not to. On the second evening, he found Lily standing at the back window after Maisie was asleep, looking out at the river in the dark. He came to stand beside her. Neither of them spoke for a while. "You scared of it now?" he finally asked. She thought about it honestly. "No," she said, "but I respect it more." "That's the right answer." She turned to look at him. "How do you live right next to it? Doesn't it ever feel like a threat?" Cole was quiet for a moment. "Everything powerful can be a threat," he said. "Doesn't mean you run from it, means you learn to read it." Lily looked back at the water. "I think I've been running from things for a while." "I know," he said. "Not unkindly, just honestly." She laughed a little, soft and surprised. "That obvious?" "Not obvious, just I recognize it." He paused. "I did it too, after my wife passed. Kept moving, kept staying busy so I didn't have to sit with it." He glanced at her sideways. "The river has a way of making you stop." Lily didn't say anything, but she didn't move away either. On the third morning, Cole made breakfast the way he always did, quietly, efficiently, the kitchen filling with the smell of something warm and good. Lily appeared in the doorway in one of his flannel shirts. She'd borrowed it the night before when she got cold, and leaned against the frame watching him cook. She wasn't sure when exactly it happened, when this strange, accidental life started to feel like something she wanted to stay inside. "I should probably get back on the road today," she said. Cole kept his eyes on the pan. "Probably. Maisie has school. You have work. I've already overstayed. You haven't." She stopped. He looked up then, direct, unhurried, the way he did everything. "You haven't overstayed," he said simply. "But I'm not going to ask you to stay. That's your call." Lily stood in the doorway for a long time. Then she walked to the cabinet, took down 2 mugs, and poured them both coffee. Cole watched her do it. Didn't smile exactly, but something in his face shifted, settled like a door finding its frame. "Scrambled or over easy?" he asked. "Scrambled," she said. She didn't stay forever. Not that day anyway. She drove to Portland, sorted out her life, called her sister, and spent 2 weeks thinking clearly for the first time in months. She applied for a remote position she'd been putting off. She called the landlord about her Chicago apartment. She sat with herself, the way Cole had suggested without ever quite saying it. And then, on a Tuesday morning in November, she found herself back on the highway heading east toward Millhaven. She told herself it was just to return the flannel shirt, but she'd folded it carefully, wrapped it like something precious, and put it on the passenger seat where she could see it. And she knew, if she was being honest with herself, that it wasn't just about the shirt. When she pulled up to the house, Maisie was in the front yard kicking leaves into a pile. The little girl looked up, froze for half a second, then sprinted toward the car with her arms already open. Cole appeared in the doorway. He was wearing the same blue tank top he'd had on the morning she left. He leaned against the frame, her frame now, the one she'd stood in, and made a quiet decision, and looked at her across the yard with those steady, unhurried eyes. "You forgot your jacket," he said. Lily looked down at the shirt in her hands, then back up at him. "I brought it back," she said. "I know." He straightened up, stepped back from the door just like the first time. "There's coffee." And Lily Carson, who had been passing through, walked through the door and stayed. Some people come into your life like a river, sudden, powerful, and capable of changing the entire landscape. You can fight the current, or you can learn to move with it. Cole Harrington had spent 3 years standing still. It took a stranger nearly drowning in his backyard to remind him that still water is just water waiting to flow again.